Where are the hobnobs?
Well, the hobnobs are here.
You moved your camera, my son, or your microphone. Your microphone's sagged.
You said.
Should I just go back to this? Go back to that. We'll just start again, shall we?
There. Parfait.
Parfait.
Yeah, it's a parfait.
Right.
What? Oh, so we've been live the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks for that.
You did ask.
So I've been moving my mic around. Well, what am I doing with this thing? By the way, I found my leather pouch again for the... Are we live or not?
Yes.
Oh, we are. Shit.
I already said yes.
I thought you were joking, man. I thought you were like just, being you. Let me switch this off. By the way, I found my leather pouch for the Finland cutter again. And it needs a quick iron or whatever.
Yeah,
anyway. Oh, we see us live. Okay, cool. Hello and welcome to another live edition of Cigar Rants, having talks with people. I don't know. We're talking about China today. There's a video on YouTube that Alex keeps playing where Donald Trump is just saying China over and over and over again. Please put that in the chat because I want everyone to just watch that for a second.
No, please don't.
Yes, he's just going China. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about China, the cigar industry, what's going on with China, what's going on with the cigar industry, why China could potentially even take over the whole world. Okay, maybe not the whole world, but potentially the cigar world. Because there's a lot going on, isn't there? There's a lot going on. Ray, what do you think?
I don't know, man. I'm not into the politics. So
You're not into the politics?
Good evening, everyone, and apologize again. Usman will not apologize, but I'm going to apologize instead of him. That we became a little bit late. And yeah, we're here now. We're live. We're going to talk about China. And do we have a sponsor piece? No, we don't have a sponsor piece. We're not going to talk about the sponsors.
China could be our sponsor. if we're nice to them, then. So, wait. Ray, have you ever wondered why you're never late?
No, because I know why I'm never late.
Because you know why? Because at 7 o'clock, you sit your ass down on that chair and then you don't move. That's why.
I'm not late for anything. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm not late.
Okay, fair enough.
At 7 o'clock, you sit your ass down on that chair
And then don't
and don't do anything.
That's fair. Alex did all the work today. For once. Normally I help. I don't mean that you don't do any work. I mean like normally we both do the work together. But today for once, you did all the work. That's what I'm saying.
And I did a lot of work. I cooked today, the dinner.
You cook nothing. You cook literally nothing. What are you smoking, man? Show everyone what you're smoking and what you're doing to your cigar. No. Show everyone how you're cutting your cigar. Show them what you're doing.
I'm using knife and I cut the cup. Why not? It's a sharp knife, so why not? Oops.
What?
The cup fall down, so yeah.
What the hell, man? Anyway.
I'm just using knife which is supposed to have a hole on it to cut it.
Pass that over to him.
To cut the cup, basically it's too big. I'm smoking a small Corona at the beginning.
He wanted the hobnobs, innit?
I'm smoking a Papa Joe. It's a weird cigar by Emilio, and it's made in Oveja Negra by James Brown.
Thank you.
It's a nice cigar. Usman will make down fun noise because he opened his chocolate, hobnobs and whatever.
I apologize. I got Alex to turn my microphone down while I quickly opened up a packet of dairy milk.
So the cigar is supposed to be really strong. You can, I don't know if you can see it now. Can you focus on that?
No.
Too close.
Too close.
Too close, yeah. It's really dark in the middle, the hero. So I'm expecting to blow my socks.
That's not a good expression, Ray.
Why not?
That's really not.
I'm a simple man.
That's a terrible.
I'm simple man. My English is limited to 100 words. I'm sorry.
Listen, man.
I don't know any other words.
Okay. But let me just explain to you why.
Okay,
I'm not going to explain to you why. But let me just tell you, that's a terrible expression, Ray. You don't need to say that around people.
Why?
Please don't.
What's wrong?
Say again.
Which one?
Say again.
What?
What do you want that cigar to do?
It will blow my socks out.
Oh, okay. Your socks out? Finally, we got something to make fun of for Ray. So what am I smoking?
Understand it.
No. What am I smoking? I'm smoking the Perdomo Maduro. Esteli, you can pronounce this. I can't pronounce this.
That is Perdomo Barrel Aged Habano Maduro.
Esteli Ometepe Olapa? Jalapa? Jalapa, that's it.
That's the main regions in Nicaragua.
I know,
Learn
but I
them.
can't...
Stop thinking about Cuban cigars.
Listen,
Learn
man,
something.
I can't pronounce these things, man. You know how you said you've only got 100-word vocabulary in English?
But it's simple. Ometepe. How you pronounce Ometepe?
I
It's
don't know,
nothing
man.
wrong.
Listen, I got Nicaragua wrong, okay?
What are you going to say wrong on Ometepe? You said in cucumber? It's right. Ometepe, man. Ometepe. Nothing wrong. Esteli.
Anyway.
Esteli. Or Istili. What are you going to say?
What's
Istili?
up with this stuff? What's up with that? What's that?
Ometepe.
What was that?
Jalapa.
The hell was that? So yeah, I'm smoking a Perdomo Maduro. That's as far as I'm gonna go. And this was graciously given to me by Mace. So Mace, is Mace online?
Haven't seen him yet.
Okay, well Mace, if you're watching, thank you very much for this cigar. Alex told me that he really enjoyed it. Was it strong? No? Manageable? Manageable for me? I'll be okay?
It was very good.
Okay, so Alex loved it. So I'm looking forward to this. Foot band obviously coming off. That's a thick band. That is a thick sheet of paper there. Like in a good way.
So can't use it for toilet paper then?
No, probably not. You're going to get some heavy paper cuts with that, man. Oof.
I know a funny story about
Don't.
toilet paper.
I
I'm
don't
not
need to
telling
know.
it.
I don't need to know.
I'll tell you off the camera.
No, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Is it sandpaper?
No, I can tell how you
Was
can
it like
use
a
that.
fine grit?
I can tell how you can use that as a toilet paper. But
I
it's
don't want, why would I want to?
Yeah, we're
Oh.
gonna lose the audience.
Yeah, and rightly so.
Okay, China.
China. So, let me light my cigar first.
Okay.
And have you lit your cigar? You have, haven't you?
So using a Chinese cutter now?
I'm using a French cutter, man.
Oh.
This is like the most French a cutter can get because it looks fancy, but it's terrible.
See, is that expression for French people?
Yeah.
Look fancy, but it's terrible.
It looks great, but it's a bit shit. You know. Where's my lighter? What did I think? Have you got a lighter?
No.
You don't have a lighter, do you? I didn't come prepared today.
Your lighter is on over there.
Is there another lighter there? I don't want to use a Zippo right now. I want to use a Jet because it's a bit faster. Can I borrow yours, please?
Yeah. You don't forget what you say about that lighter a few weeks ago.
What? Zippo?
No, that one.
Oh, it's a piece of shit. And you should be ashamed of carrying it.
And now you're gonna.
But I'm
use
going to use it now because I don't want to use my Zippo right now because I'm feeling a bit lazy. What kind of wimpy... What kind of crybaby jet flame is this?
I don't need stronger than that.
What?
It will overkill my cigars. I just don't want to strong.
What is that? It's like a teardrop flame.
It's safe for cigars, man. It not burn your cigars. Just that's why I like it.
Fucking hell.
Are you gonna use it or no?
Yeah, I'll use it, but I'm not crazy, right? This is...
Well, do the job. Look how beautiful burn makes.
It's fucking taking forever.
At least for once in your life, you're not.
Guys, we're gonna need to go on an intermission for before I can light this one.
At least one in your life, you're not gonna overburn your cigars.
I never
overburn. 4 quarts jets or whatever.
There's
You're
one time
the proper cigar now.
yesterday in the Zoom call, right? I have messed up that light big time, right? Oh, that was horrible. That was... I can't be asked with this, sorry. Man.
That is really strong cigar.
Is it? Do you need some chocolate?
Nah, I'm alright.
How are your socks?
Yeah, cover your socks, man.
Start
I don't want
moving,
to find out.
man. Start moving.
So, China. I mean, this is something that a lot of websites have already covered in terms of subjects. I mean, I can't talk and
Are they? I haven't read anything.
You haven't read anything?
No.
Seriously?
No,
I
yeah.
mean, it's just Cigars covered some of these aspects. Cigar aficionado.
You know, I don't
covered some
read
of
the
these
Cigar
aspects.
Aficionado. You're reading it, so I don't read that.
No, I read like Why is he saying that like it's a bad thing? Like, fuck
No,
it.
no, just say.
I think Cigar Journal covered some aspects in relation to like market share and global economics of cigar, which is the politics of it. So you are into this, so stop lying. You're into the politics of cigars, though. Clearly you are, because if you're not, then, you know...
What is the politics of cigars?
Well, the fact that people are trying to ban the thing, you know, Oxfordshire, they're trying to ban cigar smoking, or smoking completely. That's politics.
Macy's here.
Hey, Macy's here. Welcome back. I don't remember the melody.
Stop singing. Just lit your cigar and shut up.
Just lit your cigar. Okay. Can I give you a lighter back?
Yes.
Okay.
I need my lighter, of course. It's the best piece of equipment I have.
No, it's
The
not.
best pound in 20 spent somewhere.
£1.20.
Something like that. I wouldn't pay more for that.
Mace, I'm smoking the cigar that you gave me, by the way, the Perdomo. So thank you so much for providing this cigar. Really looking forward to smoking it. Alex had a lot of good things to say about it. So yeah, hopefully I've lit it correctly.
Usman breaking it.
No, it just needs a fuel, man. There's fuel right there.
It does not need fuel.
No,
Yeah.
I pressed the button twice.
Okay. Tell me what you know about the China then.
So, Chinese markets. We know they're producing cigars already, right?
For many years.
For many years. But they haven't just been producing cigars. They are now the biggest cigar producer in the world. Comfortably. Like more than double the second highest producer.
I think they've been for a while, probably good 10 years.
Yeah. We don't know. We don't have all the facts. We don't know whether it's accurate information because one of the things about China is a lot of economists don't entirely trust the numbers that come from them. Like they don't entirely trust the numbers that come from Beijing, especially when it comes to GDP figures. So if we can't trust the GDP figures, then we may not necessarily be able to trust their production rates because it's like, well, they could be making it up. We don't know. There isn't like an official way to kind of quantify the numbers coming from China. However, it's reasonable to assume that they can produce 250 million cigars per year, considering they've got a population of 1.368 billion.
Yeah, the maybe they I don't know what the other figures about 250 million are accurate and where that statistics came from. They produce a lot of cigarettes. The biggest amount of cigarettes is China.
Yeah,
They smoke a lot.
Not talk about cigarettes.
Well, you're not talking, but basically they produce tobacco.
No,
So,
no.
there's
We
a
have
different.
to. We're gonna keep this focus strictly because if we get into cigarettes, it's just gonna
I'm
kind
not
of
gonna
muddy
get
the
that. I
water.
was just trying to,
I know.
to go in the point in there.
But let's not confuse the situation because cigarettes is going to go into a very different subject. I think let's focus strictly on long filler cigars, or what many people call premium cigars, right? Handmade, hand rolled cigars. Those are the ones that we can focus on. This is really good. This is actually really good, by the way. And what are you doing?
Just break my favorite lighter.
What the hell?
Take that one. Take that one.
It's fine. We'll just put the
You owe him £1.20.
Yeah. It's my favorite.
Alex, off screen, just broke the best lighter that Ray owns.
I'll put that back in a minute.
Super glue in it. You came with a Zippo,
Yeah, why not?
and you used that, and you gave me that piece of junk.
Because you have Zippo, you say I don't want Zippo.
Yeah, but I want to use your Zippo as well.
Why? It's not
Because it looks
different.
nice. Because it looks nice. What is it? Anyway, Alex, are you done now? Can I carry on?
Yeah.
Yeah?
You can carry
sure?
on. Camera is on you.
Is it?
Yes.
Crap. So all this time I've been talking shit. So anyway, back to the subject. They're producing 250 million hand-rolled premium cigars. So we'll stick to that. Nicaragua is producing about 140. Honduras is producing about 140. Cuba's producing about 100 million, based on 2019 figures.
How Nicaragua produced 140 million? I think they produce way more than that.
That's what some people have worked out. There's no official number.
Well, Plasencia produced 40 million. Three states produced 40, 45 million. Joya de Nicaragua produced a lot. It should be more than that.
Those are the estimates. They've worked out that that's the estimate because 86% of their production rate goes to the US. That's about 112 million cigars.
Well, US, as far as I know, US smoke around 300 million a year.
Yeah.
everything. So, not only Nicaraguan, just total.
But one country produces 112 million cigars for the US markets, and that's Nicaragua. So they produce that much. Honduras produces about the same, slightly more, but let's just call it the same. Sorry, that's wrong. Dominican Republic produces about the same as Nicaragua, slightly more, but only by like about a tiny percentage. It's negligible. Honduras produces about 70 to 80 million, depending. So they produce less, but Nicaragua and Dominican Republic, obviously they're the larger. They've got a greater presence. Cuba produces about 100 million in the year, and they have very little production going to the US. So we can discount the US completely. If we include
they have little production, but there was actually a Zoom call not long ago. When the people from the industry say from 100 cigars produced in Cuba, 21 boxes ended in US. So that's 20%.
Unfortunately, we can't use that as an official number. Do you know what I mean?
We're not officials.
No, but I mean, if we're going to give out any information, we don't know how much of that is verified. What we can verify is that they are producing about between 95 and 100 million cigars. And in terms of the world market, if you include the US, world market, Cuba has 18%, which is not a huge number, realistically, because the US consumes so many cigars. But if
don't forget that usually the cigars, the Cubans are not allowed in the States.
Exactly.
So if every cigar potentially Cuban going there, it's been sneaked from Canada, from Europe, from Asia, or whatever.
But I'm not saying 18% to the US. I mean, if you look at the whole world's market share, who has the biggest chunk? So Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, they have the largest portions from the Central American regions, and Cuba has 18% of that. And China has the largest share. 250 million, one country. Fair enough, it's a massive country with the largest population in the world.
It's a massive country and with the massive regions of growing tobacco.
Yeah.
That's why I mentioned the cigarettes, because it's a tobacco growing country.
Yeah.
They not import all the tobacco from abroad. They not import every single leaf from everywhere.
Nope.
They just produce white and black tobacco. One of the tobaccos going for cigarettes and their population, but the other one actually going for handmade premium cigars. And as you mentioned, it's a big country, big population. So literally, it's more than a billion people there. If a lot of people smoking, because as far as I know, there is no ban of smoking or anything like that there. So literally, you can pretty much smoke.
I think there might be some indoor areas where you can't smoke.
With the economy race in the last, I don't know, maybe 20 years, the Chinese economy has been huge up there. And with all the new rich people becoming as a player.
Well, it's the second largest economy in the world.
Yeah,
right?
So 20 years ago, maybe it was far down, but now it's quite big one. You've got a lot of rich people coming on the scene.
Yeah.
And some percentage of them wants the luxury lifestyle, which,
absolutely,
the cigars in some way represent the luxury lifestyle. And they want to. I've been communicate with people which have businesses down there and say there's a people which basically they open. If someone open a lounge, you don't open one lounge, you open 15 at once. That kind of grow is at the moment. So
because they've got so much production.
Yeah, they've got production. They've got a lot of people starting to smoking stuff and wants to be part of the high life, if you want to say it in that way. And yeah, they have a lot of lounges there. I try to find
so lounge where you can go in and just smoke
and buy cigars. Not only smoke, buy cigars. So I try to find official information about how many lounges or shops have in China. I didn't manage. It's not easy to find a lot of information for China, but from people which I have talking about before, they say literally China it's incomparable in a race of tobacco smokers, cigarette smokers, cigar smokers, not cigarettes.
You'd have to compare it to a continent like Europe.
Probably, and probably still the way quick grower down there. In Europe,
growing wise, yeah, but
in Europe,
here's the interesting part. Here's the interesting part. Sorry for interrupting, but here's the interesting part. Although China, because China is a country, not a continent, so you kind of classify it slightly differently. So you could compare it to individual countries, even though it's kind of built like a continent. But anyway, China has become the number one consumer or the number one country in the world for consuming Cuban cigars. So they buy more Cuban cigars than any other country in the world. They unseated Spain. So Spain used to be number one because they used to have a ridiculous number of cigars going into the country. China's now the number one contender. However, Europe still holds 60% of the Cuban cigar market.
Okay, the question then come in: if Cuba produce pretty much same amount of cigars every year, 90, 100, 110 million, something like that, and China become more consuming cigars, the top niche, top market at the moment, where the cigars came from, where they take off cigars then. So they need to take cigars from some markets and put them into the China. So Spain still produces, still consume a lot of Cuban cigars. Yeah. UK producing a lot, Germany, all other countries. So where did that cigars came from?
I don't know. I mean, I know they had a dip in 2020.
Well, still you need significant amount to be from, I don't know, it's been a year or 2 years before where the China been in the ranking.
Yeah.
To become in some way number one. So.
But we don't know whether they're getting that directly from Habanos. Or
well,
whether
I think the Habanos statistics should be direct from them, because I don't think they keep track. If someone go in a shop in Spain, he's from Bangladesh, he's from UK, he's from Argentina. They don't really keep track where's the buyer from.
Or do they have do they have an importer which is like the Habanos equivalent? I mean, the Hunters and Franco equivalent.
Well, they have a Habanos importer down there, so for sure there, and probably they send more cigars to them instead of some other countries in Europe. Maybe the New World, because the New World is not that popular in China at the moment, and maybe that's why the people just prefer smoking Cubans, because it's like, imagine.
No, they prefer smoking homegrown stuff.
Well, if they can't afford the Cubans, but if you can afford, because China are crazy about Cohiba. They're crazy about Cohiba.
But I think that we're overstating the actual amount in comparison to Europe as a whole, because Europe still holds about 60% of the consumption, which is the majority, right?
Yeah, but Europe consuming Cuban cigars for 200 years.
Yeah, I agree. So it's kind of long instilled in Europe. You know, the Europe is consuming about 60 million cigars per year. Spain individually consumes about what, 10 million?
I didn't check the figures, but I
can't remember.
Maybe because I know
something along them lines.
Spain, France, and Germany are pretty much half of the cigars in the UK.
Yeah. So maybe Europe. About 20. Yeah. So China's probably consuming somewhere in the region about between 15 and 20 million Cuban cigars. So it's not a huge amount of the overall. I mean, it's a significant amount, but it's not like a massive amount in comparison to the overall production rate. So although it's going up, they actually consume way more homegrown cigars than they do Cuban cigars by a massive margin.
It must be the price point, in my opinion.
Possibly, but their Chinese cigars, I mean, I guess,
well,
when they're exported, they cost more, but imported, home term, yeah, you're right, they're probably not going to cost a lot.
That's why, they have their budget sticks, their home stuff. Maybe they have few lines which are kind of luxury, but I reckon most of the cigars they produce over there, they're not expensive.
No, we're talking about the premium.
The premium cigars.
Do you think they're still?
The premium Great Wall and few other brands, they're not the most expensive cigars. They're, compared to the New World stuff coming from Nicaragua and stuff, they're pretty much probably same price.
Yeah.
I think the problem China to consume that much Cubans is the luxury point, of course. Cohiba, the symbol of the luxury and the premium, decent cigars, and the lack of New World brands there.
Yeah.
Which it tend to change. I've seen few brands already hire the ambassadors over there, open distribution.
Davidoff has been heavily working in China.
Not only Davidoff.
But Davidoff has been working way more than any other New World brand to try and crack China.
Well, I think Davidoff also, they're not selling only the cigars.
No.
They have the heavily cigarettes as well.
But think about it. Every single year for like the past 6 years or something, Davidoff has had year of the cigar, right?
Yes.
They've had year of the rat, year of the ox.
Not
year
only
of-
Davidoff. I think many other producers realize
Yeah.
how big is the market in,
They've
in
recently
China.
gone into it. But
And they
Davidoff
say
has...
how we can bring the attention to China.
Mm.
The easiest way is bring zodiacal stuff. Basically a lot of Chinese, believe in their ear, in their animals, sacred animals and stuff, and they just bring the ear of everything. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one of the first cigars related to the zodiacal signs was Davidoff, for example.
Yeah.
2016 or 17. Let not say that for granted, but I think it's around that time.
Yeah.
They produced
That
the
sounds
first
about right. That sounds about right.
year of something.
I thought it was 2014, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
I reckon it's
yeah.
few years later.
Okay.
So there was one of the first one realized
Yeah.
that will bring the attention.
That's what I mean.
Despite
Davidoff,
the fact they're expensive, so
Yeah.
they're more expensive than most of the Cohibas probably.
absolutely.
So
They're in line considering the gauge and size. They're in line. They're in line.
They realize that. Then few other countries realize we need to do something similar.
But they only realized about a year or 2 years ago.
I think
Maybe
US,
not- maybe
US
not.
state have second or third cigar already.
Yeah. So 2 years. Basically, they probably started around the time of Davidoff, but you obviously need to prepare, get the tobacco and everything ready, have specific tobacco for that particular blend or whatever create. Do you know what I mean? You have to do a lot of research, so it takes a few years. So Davidoff started producing, the initial process.
Or maybe you wait Davidoff first to try the market, see what's happened there. And if
Davidoff has been planning this for a while.
Yeah, but other companies probably seen Davidoff how they first will go with that kind of niche, and if they become successful, even the Habanos released the year of. I think the first one was a Cohiba.
Year of the Pig?
Year of the Pig is there. Before that, I have the Year of the Pig, which is 2019 edition.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
I'm not sure 2018. They have Year of Rat. No, Rat was after that. Year of what was before that?
Alex, do you mind bringing up the years?
I can do.
That would be great.
While I'm doing that, first of all, I was asked to tell you by Fausto. Oh, he was also asking what you're smoking, Ray, by the way.
Am I getting told off?
No. What are you smoking?
Papa Joe.
I'm smoking a cigar called Papa Joe. It's if people want to know a little bit of history of that, Papa Joe is a brand, very boutique brand by a company called Emilio, which is a very, very small company. Emilio being bought by Black Label Trading Company and James Brown 4 or 5 years ago. He took over all his blends and he changed a lot of stuff in them. He started making them in the Ovea Negra, his own factory down in Nicaragua, which James Brown and all his cigars are tremendously known for their strength. All of them are strong. They don't have...
So his name is James Brown.
James Brown.
That's a badass name. You know why, right?
Yeah, James Brown is a great guy. He spent a lot of years in Africa,
he's a great
in
guy.
different place. He's one of the biggest sneaker collectors.
Can he do splits?
No idea.
Sorry.
It doesn't look like that, James Brown. Trust
Yeah,
me.
I know. I'm guessing. I'm messing.
And he and his wife, they basically run the company.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So they do it
Angela Brown is his wife. They both blend some stuff. They both bring the bands. They all type skull looking bands, animals and that kind of stuff. They're all related to one each another.
So this one doesn't have the skull or anything like that.
No, this one is very simple, like old type letter, machine. Papa Joe. That's it. It's very simple band, very strong cigar, tasty.
I can see you kind of like going, oof, all that halfway through some
Yeah,
draws.
retro hill on that one is just basically kill my nose for 2 minutes.
Sorry, what else were you going to say?
Fausto asked to tell you that Nicaragua exported 186 million cigars to the US market alone. Dominican Republic 103 million, Honduras 71 million.
I might have got my numbers incorrect then. Well, yeah. In any case, that's a great number though. 108.
Yeah.
Which year? Because I was going with.
As far as I know, we can always go plus minus some millions or anything. It can't be that distinctive. But as far as I know, and I read the information before, I didn't read it properly. I just read it for something else. I know US consume around 300 million cigars at the moment.
The reason why it was difficult to get the exact numbers is because in Nicaragua, they don't have. I think the official, what is it, Nicaraguan
tobacco chamber.
Yeah, the chamber.
We can probably ask
But
the
they-
tobacco chamber. They can give you some brief numbers.
But they were asked, and they said that they don't have they don't hold that kind of information.
Well,
they
can
probably do, but
approximate
maybe they
because
don't want to give
the
it.
people in the chamber are literally the top 15, 14 companies in Nicaragua. They're part of the chamber. So, yeah, some of the small companies which produce like 1 million, they're not going to affect that kind of percentage. But the biggest company are there, Real Estate, Plasencia, Habanos Leaf, Joya de Nicaragua. That's the biggest company down there producing cigars. And
180 million is very impressive. That's very impressive. Thank you. What's his name again?
Fausto.
Fausto, thank you for that. Really appreciate you correcting us on that.
Christina A points out that she wouldn't be surprised if Chinese people send a purchaser to Europe just to buy, like they do with fashion, for instance. People send
they do it. It's it was something which I was planning to mention as well.
We'll talk about that as well.
People do that, send back roast beef and gravy, from England, like it's a thing.
Yes, that is a fact. It's not. It's not something which is unknown or anything.
I didn't know about roast beef and gravy, but okay.
Well, yeah, but everywhere in Europe, you've seen retailers which basically say, well, once we have a decent supply, there's always people from China come and talk everything.
What was that story you told us about the Behike?
Yeah,
we had
I have a great story. One of the stores down in London.
Can you name the store?
No, we're not gonna name stores and anything. It's one of the stores. Well, they're not
well-known.
many old, well-known store down in London. I used to know the manager of the store. I've seen down in London. I text him, I'm gonna come and see you and stuff. Basically when I go down to see him, it was early in the morning. He wasn't open the shop yet, so I wait him in front of the shop. He arrived and there was about 5-6 people in front of the shop, all looking like Asian type guys, Chinese guys, and he opened the shop. I get into the shop, of course. We start chatting, blah blah blah, and I say, "What the guys waiting here? Is that serious queue for cigars in the morning?" Which is not usual to see people queuing in the front of the tobacco shop. And he say, "Oh, I've got
Krispy Kremes.
I'm waiting new delivery today for premium Cubans, Behike, Limitada, Talismans, and etc. etc." And literally, once we opened the shop, the first guy came into the shop and say, "I want to buy Behike, okay? And do you have any?" And my guy say, "I have a." I think he said 2 boxes or something like that. I say, "But I want to buy 50 boxes." And we were just looking at each other, and 50 boxes. It's probably the whole supply for the UK chain. Most of
less than that.
Most of the shops in UK probably in total don't have that 50 boxes.
No, I don't think Hunters would have that.
Literally, all the guys which came in there and say, "We want to buy Behike and want to buy the whole Behike you have." They didn't even ask for price.
No, they wouldn't.
Money or nothing. And they doesn't look like, don't think they look like some fancy billionaires walking in a 5,000 piece suit or with a Lamborghini outside. They were just normal casual guys walking in the shop and just ask for 50 boxes of Behike.
I've noticed in London
50 boxes of Behike, that is 100,000 pounds probably around that.
I've noticed one thing. Sorry, this is the tangent point, but I have noticed in London, I think Alex, you might have noticed as well. Like on many occasions, you'll just see someone in like very, very like basic clothes, but ridiculously wealthy. Like Mitchell's friend, he came and I think Dov was driving him, right? And he was wearing the most unassuming outfit possible, like ridiculously. Like you'd look at him and you would never ever think.
Well,
but the guy's worth like 200-300 million.
21st century people can look how they want,
I like that. I think that's pretty cool. It's very unassuming. They can just walk around casually.
Yeah, that was the example which I mentioned to you not long ago. How was the situation with the Chinese market and how they basically buy. There's a specific type of cigars which they look in, they pursue. They not pursue every Cuban.
Yeah.
But they pursue specific
Cohiba.
brands.
Cohiba
especially Cohiba, they're huge fans, and the limited editions of Cohiba.
Oh yeah,
There was another rumor. It's a rumor, of course. It's not confirmed. Nothing from Cuba is confirmed usually. There's another rumor. That's why the Cohiba Novedosos is still not on the market.
Have they bought the ball? Do you think?
Because everything what they produce, they go in China. That was a rumor. I don't know. Is it not confirmed? Just
So,
people
shall I,
talking in
shall
the
I
industry.
quickly send a message and ask?
Well, you can ask. I don't know. They're
I'm
gonna
not gonna
give you.
they're not
gonna
gonna
give
give
you
me
an
an
answer.
answer.
But that was one because Cohiba Novedosos supposed to be launched 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
So they release very small amounts for us, not for everyone. So where is the Novedosos then? If they release small batches, where is the other one?
I'm just gonna send a quick message. Sorry, guys. I'm just gonna quickly send a message to the to one of the people at Cuba, and just ask them.
Well, I'm
You
just
know.
going to send a message to one of the people.
Okay, no, that came across like a brat.
Yeah, Usman is a dealer.
No, that was not. I just thought I'd be polite, like not make it look like, oh, this guy's on his phone right now.
It will be. I doubt they're gonna answer you correctly, but it's a rumor I've heard in the different conversations. And you know,
by the way, you're both bastards for that.
every rumor have at least piece of true in there. You know, that's been all the time.
Well,
so.
potentially. I mean, that's not.
Lawrence just sent us £2
Oh, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it.
because I managed to get the phrase roast beef and gravy into.
Oh, we should say that more often. How do I spell Novedosos? Novodosos.
Same way you heard it. No Vedosos.
It's an LCDH, isn't it?
Yes. The only Cohiba LCH.
LCDH Cohiba Novedosos is going.
I have seen people showing pictures of the Novedosos, not in UK. I presume it's been released in very small batches in specific places, but still, my bet is probably it's going in China in some way.
I'm just gonna ask her directly question, and then that way
So
she might not give. Might not. More than likely, she's not gonna give us an answer. But you never know. You know, she might kind of like give half an answer. And we'll see. You know, normally she replies quite quickly. So
and yeah, the people. I think if Andre is in a chat, Andre's been, you know, he knows the scene in Sweden. He can tell the same thing about the. Can you believe that Usman just dropped his cigar from his mouth?
From
I've
my
never seen
mouth.
any smoker to drop his cigar from his mouth. Literally.
Because I took a draw and it was too hot for a second.
So yeah, Andre is from know the Sweden market. He told me exactly the same thing. Basically, the Swedish importer, I think, operate in a few Nordic countries over there: Norway, Sweden, Denmark, probably Finland. The same importer.
Yeah, the northern region of that area.
There's even the normal line cigars which are missing for months, like some of the Romulan, Julieta, Patagas, D4, EP2, that kind of normal everyday smokes. They're missing because they just don't have the supply of them.
They also don't have that much of a demand in comparison to like some of the other areas in Europe.
Well, it does. In my opinion, the Cuban cigars don't need to have a demand to have them in your stores because they will always be unpopular.
I don't know.
Always when you go in the store, in the shop abroad, especially imagine someone like you, which don't know a lot of new world, non-Cuban brands, Dominican stuff. You know a few, but not every. What you gonna go if you go on holiday in Norway and if you want to buy a cigar? Are you gonna go and buy Lost and Found Swedish Delight in Sweden, or are you gonna go and buy Partagas?
No, you're right about the supply because when I was in where was I? I was in Finland, and when I was in Finland, I went to one of the main stores there. Run by someone called Yuka, wonderful guy by the way, and yeah, we were going through the selection, and I asked him like, "Have you got this? Have you got that?" And he goes, "Mate, honestly," he was very kind, and we hung out, we smoked cigars together. It was, he's a great guy, and he was just like, "Listen, man, we don't have that many. This is all we have." And he had lots of New Worlds, but he literally had 2 cabinets full of Cubans, and that was it. And there were 2 relatively small cabinets.
In my another comment, if I can make here, I think that's one of the reasons as well, non-Cuban cigars to become more and more popular, because if you have a shop with you're a tobacconist and you want your shelves full, obviously no one wants to have half empty shop,
Of course.
so and if you don't have the Cuban demand, even if you demand Cubans, they don't give it to you. What are you gonna do? You're gonna try to find different sources for other cigars, like find who's in Europe, who present Davidoff, Room 101, Tatuaje. It doesn't matter what kind of brands, non-Cuban stuff, and you're gonna bring them in the shops just because you want, when someone enter in the shop, to see nice looking shop full of cigars.
Yeah.
You don't want to see half empty shop, and 10 different cigars.
Exactly.
And yes, if you have an option to get more Cubans, you bring more Cubans. But if you are small,
if you haven't got the option, then you've got to get something on the shelves.
Yes,
you have to.
Yes,
you have to.
You have to do it.
I absolutely
You
agree.
have to survive. You can't just wait Habanos to send you 20 boxes of
Precisely.
Monte number 2.
Precisely.
You need to survive by some way.
I agree.
And maybe that's how a lot of New World brands start becoming in Europe, start becoming more popular. Because if I go to my favorite tobacconist and he don't have my favorite cigar, probably he will give me a shout which one I can try and potentially pick my palate.
Yeah. And then he'll also
So, If I
agree.
try them, if you go in your favorite tobacconist, let's say over there's a tobacconist and you want to smoke Patagas D4 or Cohiba, which
Whichever,
some of your favorite cigars, and he don't have them, and he say, but Usman, why not try that cigar?
If you like this, you might like
that,
this.
If you like that Cohiba, that is very similar taste profile. It's not Cuban, but try it. It's cheaper. It's not bad. So you try them. Potentially you like them, and next time you go and say, I want to get a box of them because they wasn't bad, and you don't have my cigars. Not everyone wants to always try to find the cheapest deal in the internet, and a lot of people just go in local shops.
Let's get back to the subject on China. But yeah, that's absolutely right. You're absolutely right on that front. So what were we saying? We were talking about production and the consumption between all the different countries. China's still not China's comparable to Europe in terms of its landmass size, right? Europe is a little bit larger, but not by much. But in terms of population, it's like 3 times greater than Europe combined.
Well, it's not always to compare the size of the country or the population, because there's countries in Europe which are bigger than UK, but they don't smoke even quarter of the UK stuff.
But the point is,
it depends of how is the culture in the country.
Yes, but there are a couple of things that we can say about that, and the reason why I mention that is because it's comparable in size and landmass. And in terms of population, it's significantly larger than Europe. However, in terms of consumption, although we keep talking about how China's got a massive consumption of Cuban cigars, it's not that much in the grand scheme of things at the moment. But it's on the upside. It's on the trend is up.
Maybe another point of that will be because China in the last decade, maybe more, become more open for tourists.
Yeah.
And potentially where is a tourist, there's many of them just go and buy cigars if they're cheaper than their own countries.
Yeah.
There's a people traveling to Spain just for tobacco tourism or to France or stuff, just go and buy boxes because they're cheaper.
Yeah.
Imagine if you're in that region of the world, you go in a holiday in China or in that area, you go in China and buy cigars if you can transport them to the countries here. Why not? It's a tourist is a big impact to many economies, and maybe they have also a big percentage into that race to the Cuban cigars.
But they're not just after Cubans, they're after New World cigars as well, especially from Nicaragua and Dominican Republic, because they had. So I think Wang, I can't remember which one it is, but there's a particular cigar brand in China, and in order for them to understand how to produce their own cigars, what they did was they sent a party of people to the Dominican Republic to learn precisely everything about cigar rolling, manufacturing, from seed to the actual rolled.
They probably do that, but the first thing I've seen they started doing in that way, they just bring people from Cuba. They bring rollers from Cuba.
They have done that as well.
Yeah,
yes.
From other countries, bring them there, and they start to rolling cigars and teach the Chinese stuff how to roll the cigars, potentially how to blend different blends. Then they import the proper leaves of the other countries. So from Dominican Republic, from Nicaragua, from Cuba. From Cuba, not officially probably, but they I'm sure they bring leaves and seeds and stuff, and they start growing them in China.
Yeah.
With the imagine they bring some decent farmers.
They have to from Cuba, because Cuba can't do trade deals with a lot of other countries, so they can do probably trade deals with another communist country, right?
Maybe, I don't know.
They don't need to put it on the books, though.
They
don't need to put it on the books, though, because there's no official market in that for them to kind of register.
Who knows? But for sure, there was a people from Cuba working in China at the moment. There's agronomes, there's farmers.
But the main way that they've been learning is by sending people directly to the places and learning from start to finish.
Yes and no. I don't think that is... Yes, you're right. That's one of the best ways to do it. But when you go back in China, the weather is different. The soil is different. Even in the countries like Nicaragua, Cuba, Dominican Republic,
Yeah.
the field over there produces
Yeah.
different tobacco than the field here.
Course, yeah.
So it will be way better if the people learn the stuff,
Yeah.
and then bring some people from that country to
And then
your country.
so you do both. You do both, yeah.
They can learn your soil, and they because every decent master blender, you don't need a lot of time to find out the positive of the tobacco growing in some region, the negatives of how you can make hybrids, because that's how a lot of cigar blends, tobaccos, different tobaccos coming at all. They've been hybridization from a different old tobaccos.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
of the disease. Maybe China have some disease which no one have them in the South America.
That's very true.
That's why you need to have the proper specialists down there, and they need to try experiment different hybrids, different soil, different water, even everything. The air in China is different, the pollution and everything. So they need to do on the proper Chinese soil. Not only send the 50 scientists down in China to learn A, B, C, D, and bring them back in China.
You have to do an extensive
everything.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what they've been doing for the last few years. They've been producing cigars of their own by learning from the best in the industry, and they've been investing a lot of time, effort, and obviously money as well to try and develop those skills so that they can produce homegrown tobacco. Because one, they've got massive consumption. I mean, their consumption rates are already rivaling the US. They might not be on the level of US at the moment, but it's growing very quickly. So, and almost every premium tobacco brand is kind of pitching towards that consumption, because they know the consumption is China, the population is so huge, and the middle class is growing so quickly there, that it would be foolish for them to not have some stake in that market. It's a ridiculously huge population, and that middle class, as I said, it's not like a small number of people. It's a huge number of people.
It will become more and more. They allow now everyone to have 3 kids, not only 2.
Yeah, that only happened like a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
So, because they've got an aging population, they're concerned about the aging population.
Because the first time for the last 10 years they have negative, kids. More kids died and the more kids, more people died and the more kids being born.
Yeah.
And that's why they allow now.
They've got an aging population. They haven't got the enough support to be able to manage that aging population. I mean, this is going to sound callous, but it's relatively a short-term problem, but it's still a very, very significantly important problem to consider, because you need to have the elderly looked after. Of course you do, right? So, yeah, they've changed it to a 3-child policy, haven't they? And potentially that population is going to explode even more, especially with that. I think they're going back and forth with that one quite a bit. But we've got a country that has been... I mean, they've practically taken over Africa. They've practically taken over a whole freaking continent in the last decade or so, just by operating as a superpower. They've been producing a ridiculous degree, or they've been investing heavily in almost every single country in Africa, almost every except for one. There's only one country that held out, and we talked about this as well, right? And it's Swaziland. Swaziland is the only country in the whole continent that has nothing to do with China. But every other country has had significant investment from China, and significant influence from China as well. So China's not playing about. It's going to be a country that's going to have a massive demand. But not only demand, they're going to be producing their own as well. And potentially their production rates might even start creeping into the US markets. They'll probably creep into the US markets before they creep into the European markets.
Oh yeah, and another point is I don't think they have silly legislations down there.
They don't have
half of the countries in Europe have something weird, something implemented. Australia down there, the New Zealand, all kind of weird stuff. China don't have that kind of stuff, so they literally support the smoking.
Yes, and that could potentially... I mean, that might change.
Shall we move in China then?
No, that might change. Because as their population grows and they've got a greater middle class going on, and if they have more health issues... No, actually, no. They've got...
They, usually the different health organization push.
Yeah,
all that
no, it's a very
legislation.
different. They've got their health organizations.
But they don't really rely on the. You see what's happening even with the slightly off topic. What's happening with the COVID situation? They even didn't allow to properly investigate what's happening in there. So they don't really care about the health organizations which dealing around with the rest of the world. They're big enough to don't bother about that.
I got a reply.
If let's say National Health Organization say no, you need to ban whatever stuff in the tobacco, they will say no, we're not going to do it. It's our economy. You have a response from Habanos.
I did, yeah.
What they say?
They said no idea so far! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! We're working on it, and then they said.
Remind everyone what you asked.
What you asked?
I asked. Quick question. Any ideas when the LCDH Cohiba Novados is going to be released in the UK? Have they all been purchased by Chinese importers? So they replied, because I thought, let me just be very blunt with the question, and then that way, we'll see what kind of. So they replied, no idea so far. We're working on it. How have Chinese imported purchased any of that? So I think what they're saying is we haven't even got the production rate up to be able to manage it.
Okay, maybe, I don't know. I just say it was just a rumor.
No. We don't know how much.
Not been confirmed, not been telling. And I just say if it's true,
it's been denied. It's been denied.
They're not going to tell you if it's true even.
Yeah, but it's been denied. So they're denying it and saying no. Essentially they're saying Chinese importers haven't purchased any of it. Yeah, basically they haven't. So, but again, it's one of them things where you just never know.
Everything is questionable with Cuba.
Yeah, there's just
everything is questionable there.
But it could be that this person doesn't know.
Maybe.
They do have a significant position in the company, but that still doesn't mean that they know everything, right? Because that could be on the very, very top end.
And the Novadosos could be purchased in China, but not released. And when they officially release them, China will have 90% of the Novadosos. That's another scenario.
Potentially. But the consumption is still low at the moment, but it's growing. But the thing that I think, one thing you touched upon is regulation. So China doesn't have a lot of regulation. And I think Cuba is going to appreciate that because...
Cuba don't care about
I'll tell you why. Cuba's probably going to appreciate that because with all the regulations and everything that's happening, as countries become a little bit tougher to kind of penetrate in terms of consumption, if the smoking regulations become tougher and tougher, hear me out. Stop shaking your head. Shut up. If regulations become tougher and tougher in many countries to a point where smoking becomes less viable in many countries, then consumption could start going down. It might not happen in 5 years. It might not happen in 10 years. But if you're a country that's looking at managing your exports over a long-term period, you have to consider that.
There will be another country which won't the demand.
There's
always demand for Cuban cigars.
From the looks of it, it looks like it could be China.
It could be China. No, not only China. Every country wants the Cuban cigars.
Yeah, but hear me out.
Doesn't matter what kind of legislation, even if they're completely cigar-free countries, there will be another country which will get that portion.
Yeah, which is currently China. So that's what I'm saying. We agree then. So, okay, this is what I'm saying. I'm saying that if regulations continue to kind of...
So I was saying that Cuba don't really care who's buying the cigars.
No, what I'm saying is Cuba might be inclined to start leading more heavily into China. And as you mentioned on one of the live streams, you mentioned that China, there's a rumor that China has already agreed to purchase all of the production.
They're ready, but Cuba don't want to do that because that's a complete monopoly then, and you need to rely on the Chinese importers.
That's what I told you.
Yeah,
but we don't know that for sure. What I said, I speculated. I said that that's a bad idea for Cuba because then they're heavily reliant on China, and if you're heavily reliant on one entity, then it puts you at a disadvantage, especially because if, let's say, Cuban cigars are not being purchased as much by Europe, then New World cigars are going to creep in. People are going to become used to New World cigars in the European markets as opposed to Cubans. And yes, there is going to be a demand, but it's just not going to be feasible, right? It's like in the US. In the US, what are most people used to? New World cigars.
Don't forget that one day, US will open for Cubans. One day.
Possibly. I hope so.
That will happen.
I hope so.
Maybe not going to be... I'm not going to be live to see that, but that will happen one day. Maybe in 10 years, maybe in 20, maybe in 50. That will happen. If that happens, then Chinese will, I don't know, I think Cuba will prefer to send the cigars to States.
Much closer. It's much closer. It's much
closer.
easier.
Depend what kind of deal they'll negotiate about the imports and imports.
But it's still going to be easier.
US will support a lot of Cuba. They will start supporting Cuba if that embargo is done and everything. So
they need to.
Yes.
They definitely. So I think it's in the US's interest to start working with Cuba, because the last thing they want to do is, remember in the Cold War, Cuba was pushed towards Russia. The last thing I think the US would want is Cuba becoming very close with China, and which is happening and has been happening. So I think that it'd be in their interest to start looking at Cuba as an ally.
I'm not deeply into the politics stuff, that.
Well, you literally are right now.
I don't know how close China and Cuba in any kind of stuff are part of the tobaccos. I don't really follow the economics and.
But it's all linked. It's all linked.
Well, it's all linked, but in the same way, Cuba is linked with every other country. Because they import cigars to every other country apart of the States.
Yeah, but the States is one of those countries that needs to have a good relationship with Cuba, especially now with China.
They're in the same position as China. They can do whatever they want.
I'm talking from a strategic point. I think it would be better for them to have a better relationship. I think it would be better.
The fact they're not doing that for the last 50 years doesn't mean they need them.
No, I don't think that they need Cuba. I think that they could use. This sounds harsh.
But they start ban and all kind of stuff in the States now, even silly legislation as well there. So it's a topic which I don't feel competent enough to start discussing and talking shit's just basically.
Well, let me say it then. I think that it would be similar to how with the missile crisis and so on and so forth with Russia and Cuba. Cuba's now looking towards China, and that might not be a great. It might not pose a great outcome for the US, and I think it'd be better for the US to have a more open relationship with Cuba. I just think that it's going to be a better idea. And if that thing opens up, then obviously cigars are going to be one of their biggest exports, into the US market. And that would be great for Cuba. Of course it would, right? I mean, they're essentially next door. I mean, Florida's like right there. It's only 400 knots away.
You follow Cuba? I don't know. I don't really follow that.
I
don't smoke that much Cuban cigars even. All right, we are around halftime. How is the chat going?
Oh,
is there
comments.
Anything interesting? Commenting?
There's still a bunch of things I want to talk about, but yeah, comments.
While I find something, what did you think of the auction selection Placencia, by the way? Yusuf was talking about it.
That was a personal opinion. That is the best Placencia I've smoked.
There you go, Yusuf.
The best one I've smoked. I smoked one. Definitely I need to smoke more to guarantee that with both hands, but I've smoked 2 Alma Fuerte, which is the next best one, and the Placencia Orchard selection was better than the Alma Fuerte, more complex one, slow burn as well. 3 hours it took me for a Toro, which is very slow burn.
That's
perfect in taste, in strength, in aroma, in construction. I
everything.
Can't find bad point. I didn't do proper review and pointing system, but that will be really high if I need to do some points on that. So I'm both hands, and don't forget they're limited. So if you wanna really try them and stuff, just go and buy them. And even if you buy a box, you won't do any mistake. They're not cheapest ones, but compared to the other Placencia,
no, they're less expensive. They're about £10 less expensive. Than the Fuerte.
Go buy them.
For me, I think if I were to compare it to the Fuerte, I think they're in slightly different categories because the flavor profile is quite different. I love the Orchard selection. I thought they were one of the best cigars I've smoked from New World in a long time. And the Alma Fuerte. In my mind, I don't kind of look at them and think one is better than the other, because the Alma Fuerte has a very different flavor profile, which I love, especially the Salamones. But in terms of I thought the Orchard selection had just better construction overall. But then Salamones are a little bit tricky to build. So it's an unfair comparison in my mind.
I haven't smoked the Salomon. I smoked the Toro.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Toro and what's the biggest size? The big 6. I think
the 6. Yeah.
That's the 2 I smoked. They've all been decent. They've not been bad in construction.
The Salomon is, in my view, I think the Salomon is better than the others by quite a margin. It's a lot better. The flavor profile is a lot more saturated. It just hits a lot harder. It's such an incredible smoke. So the Alma Fuerte, I'm not going to say one is better than the other. I think that they're both incredible cigars. It's not one that I'd compare. I'd just say they're both amazing.
If you put the price point there?
Price point, Orchard selection wins.
If it's £10 difference in UK,
Auction Selection wins
By
based
far.
on price, but it's an amazing smoke. I think it needs about a year or two worth of just aging, in my view.
I found them decent without aging.
They're amazing to smoke straight off the shelf. But I think that with about a couple of years,
You know what? Someone asked me not long ago why I keep smoking different stuff all the time. And I say I need to find the ultimate cigar. What's the ultimate cigar for me? That is a cigar which you smoke now, and it's mind-blowing. And that is a cigar which you smoke after 10 years, still mind-blowing. Which with the new world is usually not happen. After 10 years, they're mild, different,
no,
not
you
tasty.
need. I
So
think
that for me will be the ultimate cigar if I found something which doesn't matter when you taste it, when you smoke it, in the same year when it's being produced, 5 years later, 10 years later, the cigar will be still mind-blowing.
Did you mean the same cigar once it's been aged for 10 years, or do you mean the same cigar
No.
produced 10
Same
years?
cigar aged.
Same cigar aged. Okay, that's
So-
tough though. That's tough.
Exactly, that's why I'm carrying on smoking different stuff, just
Fair
to see if I find the ultimate stuff. You know, if I buy 5 cigars, I'll smoke them in significant amount of time. I'm not going to smoke them 5 of each.
Yeah, you do take your
So
time. with
that's
cigars,
why
yeah.
I want to try.
For me, I think with between the Auction Selection and I thought they were amazing. I thought they were some of the best cigars that I've smoked in a very long time. But yeah, the Alma Fuerte, price wise, it's a little bit pricey now. But yeah, anyway.
How is the chat?
There was a bit of talk about how Cuba relates to America, in terms of potentially opening up again, how they might handle that, and I guess that relates to whether or not China can take Cuba, as it were, as a consumer.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it will be very, very interesting if
Because the
US
Cohiba,
Open,
Monte Cristo,
if US Open, what would happen with the Cuban market? Then
it's a tough one.
It's that would be really, really interesting seeing it.
People in the industry who know what they're talking about are kind of looking at this thing. I don't know. I'm saying
Nobody
don't know.
know.
Yeah,
Nobody know. That's
Nobody
why I'm so
knows.
interested to see what actually can happen.
So because
potentially.
the legalities of it are so weird.
Also, if they open the market, some people maybe didn't think about it, but potentially Cuba can export tobacco. People can use tobacco to blend. If they open for states, that means they're gonna open for all kind of stuff.
Maybe not. I'll tell you why. So Cuba's open to Europe at the moment, right? But that doesn't mean that companies everywhere else can use Cuban tobacco.
Well, more and more rumors that more companies using Cuban tobacco.
Officially. Let's just get that into the official stance because we don't know.
At some point that will be official.
But we don't know.
Yeah,
that. It's just
nobody say that, but in some point that will become official because there's so many different companies rumoring to
But
that.
let me just say, I think that just because the US opens its markets or US opens up to Cuba doesn't necessarily mean that Cuba will open up because it's still a communist country. So it may not start allowing other people officially. It may not start allowing other people to start using Cuban tobacco for blending. I don't know. I think that's that. I don't think that
it's a speculation.
I think that one doesn't mean that the other's gonna happen.
It doesn't mean, but it's logically.
It's not logically though.
Not for
It's
you.
not.
No,
No, because it's still a communist country. If they become a democratic state, then yes, absolutely, that could happen.
Maybe
But-
that will happen before the US open the border. They become the Castro family. It's finished now.
That's true.
You don't know what's going to happen in
They
5
are
years in
becoming
Cuba.
they are becoming a little bit more relaxed in certain areas, but it's very slow.
People
It's
in Cuba are not
very
happy.
slow.
They're a poor country. They're not happy with what's happened there. Maybe there will be another revolution and they took over from the communists. That's how usually happen in the communist country. I've been living in the communist country when I was born, and I know what's happened there. I know the whole ex-communist country. In some point, the people just say, "Stop! We can't carry on anymore with that." And
We're suffocating, basically. Literally,
So you don't know. It might happen next week. It might happen in 5 years. It might happen in 20 years.
You never know. But if it remains a communist country when it opens up, I don't think that's going to happen. If it turns into something else where it becomes a bit more free, it becomes a bit more open, especially when it comes to trade, absolutely, I think that could be an option. That would be amazing to see Cuban, Nicaraguan, Dominican, and Honduran tobacco being mixed to produce blends. That would be an incredible thing. That would be amazing. Any other questions?
Are there any, from Mace? Are there any Chinese cigars that you guys have tried?
I haven't tried any.
No, I've seen two brands around. I still try to get. Theoretically, I can get some of the Chinese cigars to try. It's not an easy stuff, but I know friends which can manage to send me some. I know about the Great Wall, and another fun Chinese name. Both of them not being mind-blowing. Andre, I think, also give a good feedback on. He smoked 2 or 3 different.
Andre says the only good Chinese cigar he smoked was the one. I'm gonna butcher this. Sorry, the one Guangguochi cigars crown, the quintessence.
Oh yes, that's the one I was.
Essence.
The King's Crown. That's what it translates.
Right.
I'm not going to try and pronounce it.
I just read everything he wrote.
Yeah, the King's Crown.
right.
That's no. I've seen that cigar in some reviews, but I haven't tried them. I haven't tried them at all.
Haven't as well.
Andre also points out how he thinks China would try to, break over the European market first, perhaps as suppliers as well.
Yeah.
And that they've already started their own cigar expo.
Yeah. China start making. I think they make the first cigar sommelier course 2 weeks ago, which bringing that kind of people in China mean that the industry is growing. So yeah, China will.
Yeah, that's one of the points I wanted to talk about.
In some point, they're gonna make one of the biggest show down there.
Absolutely.
Like Inter Tobacco in Dortmund, like the TPA, all the shows in Las Vegas in the States. China will have an Asian version for 100%. That's amount just a in a matter of time.
Absolutely. They definitely are going to start doing something along them lines because they want to open up to the world so that they can export their tobacco as well. 250 million and they haven't even matured the industry yet. So they could comfortably start ramping up that production. And if they're on 250 million now, imagine what they could get to when they start looking at.
I don't think China will go close to the South American countries in the next 100 years. Not going to happen. It took 50 years to Nicaragua to become where is it now. China will not do that quick.
You say that, but
happen.
You say that, but their GDP, in terms of how much they've grown as a country.
Well, the GDP of Nicaragua
is phenomenal.
Is tiny piece in front of China, and still Nicaragua producing.
But China's still relatively new to the cigar industry.
Exactly, the people in the cigar industry are conservative.
But they're ramping up.
Doesn't matter how they're
already on 250 million production.
Everyone down there ramping up for 50 years, and even now you see that still Cuba, people prefer the Cuban cigars than the New World. They're ramping down for 50 years. Heavily.
No, I'm not saying that they're going to take over the production rates for the rest of the world because that comes down to preference, right?
If you take down the U.S. market, so still Nicaragua is not well known in the European scene. Because in the States,
well, close to 90% of Nicaragua's production is going to the US.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I'm telling. The Nicaragua still didn't break a lot of didn't break into the markets here. They break in the States because basically the States you can't smoke Cubans, and you need to smoke Nicaraguan, Dominican, and Honduras.
So I don't think Europe is going to be the key target for the Chinese market. I think they're going to aim for the US markets before they go for Europe.
Ooh. Good luck with that.
I think they will. It's just a matter of branding, right? I mean, if you can sell gurkhas, you can sell a Chinese cigar.
You put me a video 10 minutes before the podcast about how the people in US like China. I don't think they're going to like the Chinese cigars.
Well, they consume the most from China.
But is it not a similar argument to Chinese manufacturing?
Yeah.
We can all say how
Apple is produced in China.
But also we can talk about, say, cheap Chinese, whatever. The stuff that breaks and we don't like it, but we all still buy it.
Apple is produced in China. Yeah, it's a good reference, but Apple is not a consumable product.
I think.
No. What I mean is,
Apple wasn't quite the example I was going for. I mean,
I'll explain why I used Apple as an example. The reason why I use Apple as an example is because you could have you could have a brand in the US that has tobacco from China.
I don't think that cigar people will want to smoke that.
I don't know. Well, we don't know that. We don't know that yet.
Do you eat McDonald's could you eat McDonald's with Chinese beef? No, you're not gonna eat it. Americans not gonna eat that. Even if it's cheaper, if it's half of the price, not gonna eat them.
No, I think that there's scope for brands to do something like that.
Not in a consumable product.
I don't. Well,
I can't remember. I can't think of a product consumable which is made in China and overtake the US equivalent.
I'm not saying it's going to overtake. I think that it's going to have a foothold there. I think it's definitely going to have a foothold in the US market.
Even the European cigars can't make a foot in the States at the moment. There's a few brands trying, pushing. They still can't do it. And it's European made. It's still Honduran made cigars, but with the European company, they still can't make it.
But China could, as Lawrence points out, China doesn't necessarily also have to make the cigars. Just because they're growing the tobacco could be sent elsewhere as a cheap filler, for instance.
Yeah, there's a lot of brands based in Europe. They don't make the cigars in Europe. They make them in Honduras. Not even in China. They make them in Honduras, in Costa Rica, and that kind of countries, and they still can't go through in America.
I don't know. I think that China has a lot more in terms, because basically it's government owned, right? They've got a bit more resources than smaller brands available from Europe.
I think China will be staying in the way they are in their own cigars for many, many years. Maybe they'll consume more Cubans, New Worlds, yes. But they wasn't able to import their own stuff for many, many years properly.
I think
yes, there will be some boutique shops which sell in China stuff. Maybe some Chinese company will open a chain with shops in the US. Why not? But still not gonna be overtake anything or even % of the sales there of the cigars. Not gonna happen.
I think that there's scope. I think that there's scope there for them to grow. And I think that they would have a better chance in the US markets than they would in the European markets.
Well, you say that about the European markets. So, Andre says that Habanos SA, is that South America?
No, Habanos SA is the company. Habanos.
Oh, yeah, of course it is. Yeah. Habanos, Davidoff, and Scandinavian Tobacco Group have confirmed their presence to display products and communicate their latest achievements together at this Chinese expo.
I mean,
with those being popular in Europe.
Interesting. So I could be wrong. Well, yeah. I mean, we're both speculating here at the moment, aren't we? I think
it cuts both ways, right?
Yeah. I think that with China bringing in rollers, bringing in the experience, bringing in the expertise from all around the world, and also sending their own people around to produce really high quality stuff, it's only a matter of time before they start becoming a significant presence in the cigar industry.
I wouldn't agree. I would say again, I would not agree with that.
I think that
my opinion is 50 years minimum, more than that.
I think I think it's going to be shorter. It's going to be done in a much faster way than we think. I think that we're underestimating. I think this is the reason.
You're a predominantly Cuban smoker. If you see in a shop 5 boxes of Chinese cigars, how are you gonna approach them?
But this is the same with like New World cigars.
No. Are you gonna buy of them?
But this is the same for me in New World cigars.
Exactly.
So I will look at Cuban cigars.
I will buy a Chinese cigar because I want to try everything.
Yeah.
But you smoke few specific brands which you like.
Yeah.
You very rare try new stuff. Because of different reasons. You don't want to.
Trying new stuff right now.
Yeah, but how often? So we have how many shows? 12, 13, 15 shows. You've smoked one. You're smoking at the moment, new one. You smoke the Plasencia because we're doing the Plasencia night. You smoke the Gurkha because we do the Gurkha night. So that was 2 new cigars for you. And
Oliva.
One Oliva. It was a new cigar for you.
No.
So how many new cigars you smoke for 15 shows?
But I don't smoke new cigars on the show.
Exactly. You don't smoke a new cigars genuinely.
No, new cigars I smoke generally in my own time.
No.
Not very often.
Exactly.
Because I'm still going through all the Cubans.
And what do you mean? So you if you let's say if you smoke 100 cigars a year, 200 doesn't matter, 100 cigars.
I'd say about 300 in a year.
300, okay.
Yeah.
If you smoke 300 cigars, what do you think will be the Chinese percentage in them? If you have options.
Oh, Chinese right now?
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
No. If you have 5, let's say 5 new brands, Chinese brands.
Okay.
In the shops.
I'm gonna say
cigars.
something, but I'm also gonna qualify what I'm saying as well. We are currently going very anecdotal on this one. So this is not by any means.
But you're a consumer.
No, hear me out. Whatever point that you're trying to draw from me individually is not something you can use to blanket the industry with.
Well, we're not blanket. I
but
can
you
give you
can't.
my perspective.
Hear me out.
I'll give you my answer on all
Okay.
that questions.
But you can't. Okay, you can't. You
Well, do
can't.
you want me to ask 100 different people then?
No, because what I'm saying
Well,
is,
it's 100 different people. It's a consumer's piece.
hear me out. What you're doing is, it's a bit of a logical fallacy. You can't take one person's preference.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask 100 people.
Okay, ask 100 people, but that's still not anywhere near enough.
Why
It's
not?
not even
It's
a drop in the
percentage.
ocean. It's not a
So,
percentage because
I know what I'm smoking. I'll tell you. I
Okay,
ask you,
but
300
that's
cigars.
not. But you're
how
using.
many Chinese will be from that 300?
I'm probably gonna smoke maybe 0.
Maybe 0. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna smoke if I have 5 different. I'm gonna smoke all 5 of them.
But you can't use that to extrapolate information and say,
Why not?
oh, this is what it's gonna be like, because that's what you can't. You literally can't.
Yeah, that's theoretical.
That's complete. But no, it's not. It's not. It's anecdotal to a point where it's meaningless.
I don't see meaningless.
It is.
You're
because
talking
they-
about the Chinese rules.
No, because I'm making a different
point.
point. I'm making a different point.
Well, you're telling me that
You're
Chinese
saying-
will
you're
come on the
looking at-
market in Europe, in States, and
no,
stuff.
I said, the exact words that I use, I said China will probably have an easier time approaching the US market than they would the European market. I didn't say, hear me out, I didn't say that they're going to become a dominant force in the US.
No, they're not going to be dominant. They
So
will make
so
a
listen to
foot on the market.
Okay, but listen to exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying that they're going to have a relatively easier time entering the US markets than they would potentially the European markets. That's what I think. However,
Not a chance.
well, it is entirely speculative, isn't it?
Not a chance.
It's entirely speculative.
Ask,
we have no
ask
idea.
people on the call how many of them over 1 year smoke
again-
100 cigars. How many of them
Okay,
they're
but that-
willing to try Chinese
Even if we
cigars?
asked all of our subscribers, that still wouldn't be representative in,
Well,
in
that's
any
what the
meaningful,
people are doing.
but in any meaningful way. It's not representative in any meaningful way. Because the answer to the question is, we both don't know.
No, I know.
Yeah.
If it's
So
a
we can have an
if
idea.
it's a 5 Chinese brands, even if they are worse than Gurkha, I'm gonna buy and smoke them. Try them. I'm gonna smoke them. I smoke. You smoke 300 cigars a year, maybe 50 different cigars, maybe less than that.
Okay, I probably smoke more than that.
I smoke 300 cigars a year, which are 300 different
So
cigars.
I smoke 1 cigar a day minimum. So that's at least 400 cigars in a year.
Yeah.
You smoke at least 300 different cigars in a year, which is very different. Because you smoke a lot more than
I
300.
smoke 2 a day, usually.
Yeah. So you
All of them
smoke.
are different.
So you smoke potentially about 600 cigars in a year,
Different.
potentially more. But you're smoking. I think last year you smoked what, 300 different cigars.
Yeah, that's what I count. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
smoke. I didn't smoke that much probably, and I smoke not every day.
Yeah.
But when I smoke 1 or 2. But I
You smoke different cigars. Yeah.
Last
So
year
that-
I smoked only 3 cigars, more than once.
But this is one thing I really like about you. And it's the fact that you are completely, utterly open to whatever cigar brand, whatever cigar that's currently on the market. I genuinely love that about you. I really do.
It's not only me.
No. I'm just saying that. I'm just throwing you a compliment, man. Shut up and take it. So that's one thing I love about you. And I don't think I do that. I don't think I could do that. I think, me personally, I like the cigars that I like. I think I smoke, because you smoke it in a way that you explore, and you're kind of you're interested in cigars as a whole.
But there's a big percentage of people like you,
Yeah,
and big percentage of people like me.
I agree.
So people like you, they're not gonna try new stuff.
Possibly.
People like me will
No,
try them.
I will happily, if I have the opportunity to try because it's kind of like it's a novelty, isn't it, at the moment? Because there's no stores that you can go into in England, as far as I know, where you can just go in and say, oh, that's a Chinese brand, I want to buy that. But if that happens, I'm going
will
to try
happen
it.
maybe in some point.
But
There
I'm
will
gonna
be someone importing Chinese
Yeah.
cigars. That
If
will happen.
that happens, I'm going to try them.
But not many people wants to try them. That's what I try to say. That not many people wants to
I
try
think
the
that-
Chinese stuff.
I think that people might try them. I think people might try them, and a big percentage in the US, or maybe some percentage in the US, will probably like them. And I think it's going to be a bit easier for them to build a particular brand in the US than it is for the European markets, especially if they start producing, or if the US market start producing brands that are using some Chinese tobacco as well. I think that's reasonable to assume. And I think that China could start producing tobacco for particular blends. They might start operating with some companies. They might start, because they're quite open to business. They're very open in business in a lot of areas. I don't think it's...
Yeah, that will happen in 50 years, what I say.
I think it's going to have... I guess that's where we disagree, but that's fine. Obviously, we're fine to disagree. I think that it's going to happen in a shorter period of time. Maybe not 50 years. I think it's going to happen maybe in about next 10, 15, potentially 20 years. But I think it's not going to be significantly longer than that.
And we didn't add another another comment in the discussion.
Please,
is actually the cigars will be good enough?
I think
so, because you might try it, but it might taste like gurkha.
But here's the thing: this is where China's doing a lot at the moment. With we talked about this as well, where they're doing a lot in terms of developing the expertise.
Gurkha do a lot, and you still didn't like them. They developing the expertise. They change the factories. They change the CEO. They change.
Well,
you still don't like. You still raving every single show about them.
Okay, so with Gurkha, it's a little bit more.
Imagine if you try the Chinese dog shits and you don't like them, you're gonna start raving about them.
No, I'll try. And if you told me that there's a Gurkha Nicaragua which you think is potentially going to be good, you haven't tried it yet, as far as
not yet.
So you haven't tried it yet, but you said that it's potentially going to be a good cigar because it was made in a factory, where they know what they're doing. So I would be happy to try that. I'm fine trying cigars. As much as I make fun of Gurkha.
I'm gonna bring you blind taste that cigar because
if
you know it's Gurkha, you have your opinion based on.
Don't give me a blind test. Tell me what. No, I will happily give a chance. And so, when I make fun of Gurkha, I'm poking them, really, because it's fun. It's easy to make fun of Gurkha. But if someone gives me a Gurkha cigar and says this is really good, I think that you're wrong about Gurkha overall. You should try this cigar. I will happily try that.
George is saying the cigars would say they're not bad. Even Andre said that specific Gurkha wasn't bad. 100 what we smoke in here.
I didn't like that.
But you have the opinion before you even start
smoking. No. When
Come
I smoked... Okay, it's a little bit of it is just theatre. But when I smoked that cigar, I genuinely didn't like it. I genuinely did not like it.
I have to agree with you on that one.
Alex didn't like it either, so it's not just me being funny about it.
I don't know, I've smoked way worse cigars, no Gurkha.
I don't think that was the worst cigar I've ever smoked, because I smoked it, but it wasn't one that I enjoyed.
I'm pretty sure you say that's the worst cigar you ever smoked.
No, the worst cigar I've ever smoked is Kraken.
Hey, there it is.
By
the way, Mace wants to see a comparison between the Kraken and the Texas Lancero.
No, thank you.
Texas Lancero
no,
is better.
Thank you, Mace. Listen,
Texas Lancero is better. I've smoked both of them. The Texas Lancero it's like, I don't know, like you're driving a Ferrari in front of the, I don't know, Russian ladder.
But Texas, why does it have to be a Russian ladder?
Because I own Russian ladder. I know how crap they are.
There are Ferraris and ladders that share parts.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I don't say they don't, but one and the other in front. If you look.
Oh, I thought he said ladder.
Ladder, yeah.
No,
ladder. Okay.
Ladder.
Sorry, no, I didn't mean to correct you. I apologize.
Ladder.
I just misunderstood. I genuinely.
My first car I owned.
Okay.
That was ladder. I owned it for 3 years.
Yeah.
I know.
No, I get what you mean now.
How good and bad are those cars.
I get what you mean now. I wasn't trying. That came across like such a dick move, right? I am so sorry, Ray. I was not. No. I genuinely was not trying to correct you. I thought I completely misheard that. I apologize.
So the Texas Lancero, it's a really bad cigar, but not bad as Kraken. Let's say it that way.
Do you know what? The CLE Asylum cigars, smokable. I
smoked 5x50 only so far. It was one of the best cigars I smoked for very long time back in the time when I smoked it.
I think I smoked the 6x80 or something.
Yeah, that's a dog, big size. I have one
long filler.
Yeah, they're long.
Decent.
Fillers.
It didn't have like a. So I smoked the Rocky Patel. What's that massive one? The howitzer. The howitzer.
Maybe Mace wants to put the size reference because the Texas Lancero is 7x70 basically. Doesn't matter. It's called Lancero. It's just Texas Lancero 7x70 by Alec Bradley, which is a ridiculous size. I don't like any of 7x70 cigars. But if I need to smoke 3 cigars 7x70,
yeah, I
can pick the best one. Doesn't matter how bad they are. I can pick which one's better for me and compare Kraken to Texas Lancero. Texas Lancero is way better.
Yeah.
But if I compare it to other 7x70 I smoke, it's really bad.
Okay.
The best 7x70 I smoke, it's my Uzi weighted on.
The what?
My Uzi weighted on.
I have no idea
That
what.
is
My Uzi weighs a ton.
yeah, and
So
that is a
I'm sorry.
That is a
The
Drew Estate
cigar is
cigar.
called My
Uzi.
Uzi, as in the gun.
Yes, weight.
Weighs, as in the weight.
A ton. You know the
A ton as
you are
in-
in the rap music. That is a song by Public Enemy, I believe. That's the name of the song. Drew Estate, like the name.
And they made a cigar
There's a
about
story about. Do you want to tell the story about how why
it. No,
the name?
we'll stick to the subject of
Yeah,
this one.
the name. Why that cigar have that name? Ridiculous name. Now it's different name.
Go on.
Now it's called different. Now
Okay.
it's called Muwat.
Oh, the Muat!
Yeah, the Muwat original name is My Uzi Weight a Ton Muwat.
I've tried the Muat.
So
I thought it was...
that's the best 7x70 I smoke.
I don't know if I tried this... No, I didn't try the 7x70. I tried the other one. But I thought it was okay.
I don't like the smell.
Andre, it's an awful cigar. Absolutely hate it.
The Muat?
The Muwat.
I thought it was...
Well, listen to me. I still have one or two Muwats when they call My Uzi Weight a Ton. Because there was because of the name, Jonathan Drew must change the name. You know what's happened?
Oh,
Uzi company contact him and say, look, we're guns. People will associate your cigars with our guns. We don't
yeah.
want that.
So they gave him a cease and desist.
And
desist.
basically he changed the name to Muwat, which is basically the same thing. You know, if you put the first letters of,
My Uzi weighs a ton, yeah.
Muwat. So that's how but I have cigars which on the band say My Uzi weighs a ton. Not a Muwat.
That's smart. So that's where Muat comes from.
Yes, and that is an old brand. Basically, Jonathan Drew being in love with that blend when Juan.
Was it Jose Blanco who said you're a cigar geek? No. Yeah.
So
That's a nice compliment.
you know what?
This is why Ray is a cigar geek.
You know how the name came? That My Uzi Weight a Ton.
Go on.
Jonathan Drew tell Joya de Nicaragua, can you make me a cigar, some blend? So Joya de Nicaragua made him the cigars, give him the cigars, and he get the first batch of the cigars. Imagine a bundle of big cigars and say, holy shit, My Uzi weighs a ton. And that's become the name.
Fair enough.
Jonathan Drew is a huge fan of the rap music.
Yeah.
That's where he get the reference.
Oh, I think we might get along quite well then. Anyway, Mace. No, I'm not going to do that comparison. Hell no.
That ended.
Sorry, Mace. As much as, we love hanging out, but no.
So there was an interesting point here. I'm just taking a couple of
Yeah,
comments.
it's past, so we gotta go back to the subject.
Well, it is.
So why don't you hold that question
No,
for
no,
the
it's-
end?
it's an
Okay, go on. Yeah,
It's
go
not
on.
a question. It's because someone mentioned Gurkha moving production to China, for instance.
Yeah.
And someone else, I think Andre, mentioned conversely, China could also just buy Gurkha. Now that's
Yeah.
an interesting point about how China might develop its.
But why they want to buy Gurkha then?
But
No.
as an
It's
example,
not about Gurkha. It's about buying brands that
They
are well
buy
known.
brands which have a good reputation.
but that's-
Either they're gonna lose the people which like that brand. Either they, I don't know.
Or if
how
they continue, so I think that's a great way in for them.
Well, in the same way they have half of the Habanos.
Yeah.
People still, there's nothing changed there.
No.
We don't count them as a Chinese cigars.
No.
Even if half of them are Chinese.
Yeah.
On documents.
Officially, that's not been recognized as being bought by China.
Well, we all
Officially, but yeah.
So
I mean,
we
the guy
don't call them Chinese, half Chinese cigars because they're bought by Chinese. So I
Yeah.
don't think that's really in a reference. Even if they, let's say China go and buy Drew Estate. Something happened, China buy Drew Estate. They're not going to be Chinese cigars. There will be company owned by Chinese people, which, probably half of the Chinese billionaire own, stock options in many other countries, many other
But
companies.
it could be a way in for them to operate and start funneling in some of their own products, especially if they're ramping up the production rates, but to the extent that they currently have been. They're building the expertise, they're building the brands, they're
I
building...
don't know, man. I'm not a business person. That's why I banked through a few businesses. So I'm not a business guy. I don't know.
That's why you what?
I want to smoke cigars. That's it.
Yeah, but we're discussing this, so don't try and oh yeah, I don't know anymore. This is the whole point.
I don't know, man. Ask me about some brand. I'll tell you.
Well, I mean, China has bought a lot of well-known brands in the last few years. I mean, even in the photography, this is our photography comparison, right?
There it is.
Yeah, I mean, officially.
Just getting in all the tropes.
Yeah.
We've
Officially,
had Gurkha, we've had Kraken, now for the photography reference.
yeah, we have to. So Hasselblad, Hasselblad is a well-known luxury brand in the photography industry, and Officially, not confirmed.
And on the moon.
And on the moon, yeah. So the Hasselblad was the camera that they used.
Bingo at a certain place.
Yeah.
Let's play Cigar rounds bingo.
So Hasselblad is a well-known luxury company that produces ridiculously expensive cameras. Their cameras go up to like 50,000 just for the camera, not even lenses, right? No lenses included, just 50K for the camera. This brand was allegedly purchased by DJI. DJI is a Chinese company, and they've done very little to change the company, but they are kind of instilling certain things here and there into the brand, and they're taking certain aspects of the brand into some of their things. So DJI, they make drones, right? You've heard of DJI.
I don't want to listen to that.
Okay, but what I'm saying, no, hear me out.
It's
hear me
another
out.
product which is not consumable.
But hear me
For
out.
me, it's nothing comparable.
But hear me out. It is a consumable product. Of course it is. It's a
No, you eating camera.
No, it's a consumer product.
Consumable.
Consumer product. But hear me out.
You buy a camera.
Okay, but let me finish.
So you buy one camera, potentially that will be with you for 5 years, 2 years, something.
Depends.
Well, if you buy cigars, potentially you're gonna smoke it in 3 days.
Let me finish. Let me get to the actual point I'm making. Chinese companies have done that, and they continue to do that with well-known brands in the European markets, and it's a great way to kind of bolster their position in the market and also bolster their kind of appearance, because it improves their brand. So they could potentially do that by purchasing brands in the US. So yeah, that's a brilliant point that we got in the comments. They could do that as a way of just developing that brand, making it easier for that transition. It's something that's feasible. And they could do that with the cigar industry as well. They could purchase certain brands, certain really well-known brands, continue in the same way, but then just kind of filter in certain things, filter out certain things, and then, it's almost like a sneak attack.
I don't know. Cigar industry is different. You're talking for us. Most of the companies, apart of very few, are family-owned countries, with the people blending cigars for that companies. There's people with generations in that companies, and there's an examples which companies being bought by big conglomerates, and the companies change a lot of stuff into there, but not a Chinese stuff.
Do you know which
a well-known company like Oliva? I can name example with Oliva. Oliva being a family business for many years.
Well, can I tell you which company that they could potentially target? Davidoff.
To buy Davidoff?
Yeah.
Davidoff is a big corporation. It's long time gone. They're not going to change anything there.
They could potentially buy Davidoff.
They can make Davidoff only in China. That's fine, but that's not an example with the... Because Davidoff also, it's not a great company, for example, with the cigarette stuff and with all the other stuff they produce in. I don't think...
But hear me out. I think they could potentially buy out Davidoff. I think Davidoff is the prime target for a Chinese investor or a Chinese brand.
But what would be if Henke Kellner, which is the main guy in Davidoff in the Dominican Republic, what would you say if you say, I don't like the Chinese people, if they purchase Davidoff and you say, I'll take off my stuff from the Davidoff then? What's going to happen?
No, but we don't know that to be happening. What I'm saying is
it's a family-related businesses.
It is a family business to some.
There's a corporations, of course. The HGG, the that kind of stuff.
I think the prime target would be Davidoff, and that would be a great way to enter the US market.
Do you think they didn't try to buy them already?
I don't know. We don't know that.
Probably yes.
We don't know that.
There's a lot of billionaires down in China, which easy to buy any other company in the world. Maybe David don't want to sell to the Chinese people.
Maybe not now.
But is that not interesting as well? I don't know who owns cigar brands, right? But if Chinese investors were to hold, a lot of significant, if not majority stakes in companies based elsewhere, producing elsewhere, does that not still make them, in some respects, a Chinese cigar in terms of China infiltrating a market?
No. In my opinion, no, because now...
Because then they would, a Chinese interest would then control a lot of what that company does.
The cigars still will be Honduran, Dominican, or whatever they made. They're not going to be Chinese.
I agree, but they could start influencing certain things.
How? As a bring shitty tobacco?
No, we're not talking about shitty tobacco.
Well, things like where it's sold, or the marketing, or the direction of the company, for instance. We see that happening with other things. Just because the product isn't necessarily even made in China or has anything else to do with China except for, forget even China, anyone who holds a significant stake in a company.
Where's your microphone?
It was already hissy, so I took it off.
Yeah.
So I'm shouting.
No, the cigar will be not known as a Chinese unless they start making them in China.
Yeah, they might. But what I'm saying
even
is,
if China buy Habanos 100%, they still will be Cuban cigars and still will
I
be
agree.
Nothing else.
I
with China.
agree.
Just
but they could start influencing certain aspects, and that's a way in.
I don't know. I don't think. You think it's very easy to influence something in the
I don't
cigar
think it's
industry.
easy.
It's not easy
No,
to
no,
influence
no.
anything in the tobacco industry.
No one's saying it's easy. What we're saying is it's a way in. It's a reasonable way in, and it might take a while. Because I'm saying about
not many people wants to put money in something which they don't have the what they want. Maybe they don't want to return the investment. They want influence, as you say. They want to influence the market by purchasing companies. But if they didn't influence it, how patient they will be then?
Of course they can influence it. They might not influence it in like a direct way immediately. These things take time, right?
I think
light your cigar, man.
I think
wait. No. First, light your cigar, man. I just see you struggling and puffing.
If China purchase some brand, doesn't matter, Gurkha, whatever, they will do that because they want to bring the brand in the Chinese market. No other way around.
That's one direction, but there's also the other direction that they want to go in as well.
It's not that easy.
I'm not saying it's easy. No one's saying that it's easy, but I'm saying it's possible.
I can probably name 20 brands stop existing in the last 5 years. Why the China didn't buy them? Why China didn't buy them?
Because China tends to go for the biggest.
Not Sherman. Great example. Not Sherman.
What, they don't exist anymore?
No, not Sherman.
Why would Chinese buy them?
Not Sherman being purchased by a company 5-6 years before they finish. So Not Sherman being a family business for many years. When the guy retired, the literal Not Sherman retired from the business. He sold the company to another company, which is predominantly cigarette making company. They didn't I don't know why they buy them. So they didn't put any investments decently, and the brand started going down and down and down. At the end, they tried to sell the brand for, I think, if not mistaken, for $1 million. Just the name and the brand and the recipes for the, basically the cigars.
The blends and everything.
Nobody wants to buy them. Nobody.
Well, that's because they let the company go down.
Well, if you want to start in, Not Sherman was already a decent business. They have the best cigar lounge in the world. They have owned it. That was owned by Not Sherman in New York.
Okay, but that's a bad example. That's a bad example.
Well, why not? It's a brand which if I have the money, I'll bought it. I'm telling you now, if I was a millionaire, I'll bought Not Sherman.
Okay.
Maybe I'm not going to develop it in the way where we've been, but I'm going to change a lot of stuff because the brand was already down there.
Okay, if you let a brand go down, then that's just bad management, isn't it?
Well,
or maybe that was intentional. I don't know.
If you invest a lot of money because they let the brand down because they didn't invest properly into the brand.
Okay, well that's
let it down.
That's a bad move.
If you're a Chinese millionaire which you want to purchase or start from somewhere, go and buy that kind of brands. There's a many of them. Cornelius and Anthony, Foundry Cigars, Not Sherman. All of them not exist anymore. All of them making a decent. They have their portion on the market. None of them exist anymore. None of them buy their stuff. Well, Not Sherman. Few of the brands now they're owned by a new guy which is not being released yet. But he just literally bought not the brand. He just bought the lines.
Yeah.
The brands does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
So why, if you wanna do that kind of stuff, if you are rich as fuck, as you say, go and buy all that small brands and start investing, putting in there.
Well, why would you start?
That's a small piece where you can start.
Yeah, that's a reasonable way. That's a potentially one way of going about it. But they've also got the other ways as well. So there are lots of routes to market. The point we're making is...
Don't forget that when Chinese people buy Habanos, 50, the percentage of Habanos, the deal was doing it for like 3 or 4 years, I believe, because there was a lot of organizations and different people which don't want that to happen. So imagine if China wants to buy Davidoff. There's always going to be happening.
There's always going to be resistance with any purchase, with any new takeover. There's always some resistance. That's almost universal. That's not something that's limited to the cigar industry. That happens regardless, right? When back to the photographer reference, when Hasselblad was taken over allegedly by the Chinese company, there was a lot of resistance. Still happened though. Still happened. Still went ahead. still something that, angered a lot of Hasselblad old school users. But guess what? The company's still doing well. The company's thriving quite, maybe not thriving, but doing relatively well. I think that there are reasonable ways.
I think we're not gonna be in a consensus here.
I think
we are just two random people.
No, Ray.
We have my opinion, your opinion, obviously. We're not meeting.
But I think that we're agreeing on a lot of points, but for some reason you think that we're not agreeing. I think we are.
No, we agree on a lot of points, but we didn't agree the very last point we mentioned, that China wants to selling stuff in everywhere in the world. Not gonna happen.
Oh, they want to.
Yeah, I wanted to as well, but
no, they want to.
Not gonna happen.
I don't know. I think it could happen. Happen.
We're on the last part of the show.
Yeah, we're already at an hour and 43.
Yeah. Are we? Okay, well...
Time flies when you're having fun.
Well, it's been more serious this evening. Not much of a fun with Usman, but it's still time to make
I thought it was a great discussion. I really enjoyed talking to you about this, man.
Still plenty of time.
I had to turn your audio down a bit because you were getting...
Was that?
You both were.
But it's all, Ray. It's all with love, isn't it? I mean, we're not even talking.
Exactly. No, I mean, that's the point of the show.
Yeah,
we don't want people talking the same shits. We need to have a point of view.
Just to clarify, whenever we have a discussion,
I don't want people to agree with me, or maybe you don't want as well with you.
I don't think that everyone's going to agree with you.
Exactly.
But that's the beauty of
point.
It. Yeah. So just when we get heated in our discussions, it's not because we're like annoyed with each other. I mean, clearly not.
They have a COVID-safe hug afterwards.
Okay, maybe not a hug.
I don't want shea butter on mine.
Bingo.
Yeah, that is actual bingo now.
No, I think...
Come on, guys, ask us some questions.
But we have these kind of discussions quite regularly where we have, like... Even in private, we tend to have, like... I wouldn't say heated discussions. They're more like discussions where we talk about certain things that we do.
It's just a discussion.
Yeah, it's just discussions. And then we smoke cigars and then we laugh about it.
Despite the fact I have a knife next to me.
I've got a knife as well.
Mine is bigger.
It's a crappier knife though.
Mine is bigger.
Show yours. Show yours.
Mine is bigger.
Yeah. Go on. Say the line. That's not a knife.
What was that accent?
That's not a knife.
Mine was bad.
Yours was bad. Mine was a little better. Let me see mine. Look at this. Ooh, it's French though. You can't do anything.
You just chop the ends of your fingers off.
Not even that. Oh. What a useless content.
Smush the ends of your fingers off.
God. Everyone keeps raving on about this, I think.
Any questions? Final part? Anything wants to talk and ask us? For example, maybe how was the Romeo and Juliet number 2 from 2011? I have no idea. That's one of
Which one's that?
It's a random question sometimes.
So how about French cigars, Andre?
French cigars. I know only one. I've smoked. What are they called? I forgot the name. I still have few of them. Corps of Diplomats, I believe. Diplomatic Corps or something. I think they are French. They're not bad, but never been premium or something. French cigars. I even don't know a French-owned company which actually, there's a Belgium-owned company. There's a Switzerland, but French, I don't know. I like the Quai d'Orsay. They're the most French ones, probably, because they sound French.
They're the weakest.
Well, they're made for French market in the beginning. So
yeah, that's why they're such.
They target the French market, but I like them.
They're such.
I don't know. If Andre can mention French names, I might remember some of them, but
I don't think I've ever smoked a French cigar.
I don't know them.
I might be mispronouncing those, but Edon and Navarre.
What's up with the wobble? What's up with the wiggle?
That's the French wiggle.
Oh yeah, because all French people wiggle when they talk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Genuine fact, all French people wiggle when they talk.
They can't see me, so it's fine.
This is what Alex is doing. Hedon. You gotta make your lip like this.
I can tell you later when we finish. Remind me to tell you how you can recognize a French woman. It's a French. How you can recognize a woman is a French actually, but it's not for the camera, so I'm not gonna tell you.
Just say it.
No. Well, question that was asked at the start and again by Dimitar. How was the Davidoff interview and when will we see it? As I said, you'll see it soon. It was great.
It was great. I'm working on it. I have been working on it. It's taking a little bit longer to produce
guys,
that
give
one.
give him a bad time. Yeah, he need to
I do.
start thinking with a watch on the hand.
I do, and I apologize for the delay on this one because the last one we were able to get out within like a couple of days. This one is taking a little bit longer.
Wow. Last time we were able to do it in a couple of days after the second time, actually.
Shut up. You don't need to tell everyone.
We're not perfect.
No, I think so. One of the things that I want to kind of reiterate is with these kind of interviews, we're still developing the know-how to do these interviews. So, you know, like this, the live stream, first few live streams that we did, we kind of messed up a little bit, and you know, it was a little bit slow trying to get a hang on it, and we're getting better at it. With the interviews, same kind of thing. We're getting better at it. We're just kind of feeling our way around it. So, yeah. Soon. Some production issues on this one, but I am fixing it, and I apologize in advance for.
It was a difficult audio scenario.
Yes, it's the audio. I know that some people, we've had a lot of complaints.
You just have to clean it up.
Yeah, we've had some complaints on the audio and reasonable complaints, so I'm not like annoyed about that in any way. If anything, you know, I took that as welcomed criticism, so I appreciate that. With the interviews, we're still kind of feeding things out, and we're gonna get better at it. We're gonna get more streamlined at it as well. But yeah, it's in the progress. It's in the process.
Just to until Alex asks something else. My cigar, if you don't remember the beginning, was 4-inch. Look at me now after hour and 50 minutes smoking.
That's because you let it go out like 4 times.
Well, it's let out not because I let it out. It's basically very tight draw.
Is it?
Very well packed.
Yeah.
Very tasty, nothing unpleasant, and it's very ridiculous.
Is it plugged?
Slow burner. No, it's very tasty cigar. Strong at the beginning. Not that powerful now, but look at it. Incredibly slow burner.
Do you think you're used to it, or is it just the fact that the strength has kind of gone down?
Strength gone down.
Strength gone down.
I reckon the ligero was only in the very first part.
Okay.
Maybe not now. And I drink only water, so I don't have anything to support me. The strength, you know, the chocolate or sweet drink.
I had to have some chocolate with this.
So I haven't eat anything sweet or anything. It's just cigar is incredible. That for me is one of the perfect constructions you can find. Literally, the ash is perfect. I need to literally chuck it to take it, and it's 4-inch, hour and 50 minutes.
This cigar from Mace. Once again, thank you so much, Mace, for this cigar, because I've really enjoyed this. I thought this was a really good cigar. Beautiful flavors throughout, no bitterness at all. Very smooth, right? What did you think, Alex?
It was, smooth. That's the word.
Very smooth, earthy, some fruity notes. Yes, earthy, some chocolate notes.
You can't find the chocolate as you eat half of a chocolate over there.
No, I did get chocolatey notes on this cigar,
Sure,
and I'm getting some definitely from the cigar,
Okay.
definitely.
Speaking of Mace.
And wait, let me finish.
Oh, no.
So, some really nice fruity notes as well, but it's
Say
a slow
that.
burner. It's a slowish burner.
Say 4 times 40 stuff.
Fruity notes. Do I have to say that again? No, do it. Show them what you're doing, Jimmy. Show them. Oh, you did that, huh? You did that, huh? It wasn't a middle finger. You asshole.
So speaking of Mace, he's got 2 questions.
Okay.
Fire away.
First of all, which one do I go for first? Which are the best European cigars to try?
Ooh, I haven't tried any European cigars.
European as a company or European made? There's a big difference there.
Okay, well, while he answers that, second question. Usman, where's my perfect draw?
You sell it in eBay.
It's actually packed and ready to go.
Sure.
No, it is.
Made. He meant made in Europe.
Made in Europe. I have a weakness to European short fillers. Maybe not all the people like them.
German short fillers, right?
Yeah, German, Netherlands, Dutch. I would say properly European made. One of them is Toscanello, which is Italian,
yeah, they're really good.
They have their own style, and I know a lot of people love them.
I like them. Okay, I lie. I have tried European cigars.
I'm 50-50 probably. Not everyday cigar, not ordinary cigar, but in some moments they're nice.
Do you know why I like them? I think they're great, like morning.
I smoke also a cigar called La Bohème, which is German made.
Okay.
I found that, well, they claim tobacco to be grown in Germany, but I found out they import tobacco, but many of them are made in Germany.
Okay.
It's not popular cigar. It was amazing cigar. It was one of the best cigars I've smoked. Very perfect constructed, very tasty. They usually sell them in Germany in glass tubes with a cork on the top. But they're big ring gauges. I smoke like
Long
50,
filler?
Long filler, proper long
Okay.
filler. I smoke like 54, 56 ring gauge. It was amazing cigar. At the time I was knowing that's German-made cigar only like in tobacco grown in Germany. But I found out later, even Petra from last night, he told me she's German. She told me the cigar, well, it's not what they're supposed to be. They bring tobacco from South America and stuff. But I still believe they made them in Germany. So that are the two cigars which I can name few Canary Island cigars. They're not bad. They're short fillers, some of them, but for $1 or euro, they're not bad cigars.
Yeah.
Alvaro is one of the brands. They're not bad. Don Ablar or Don Albar, not sure what was the L there. They're not bad as well. So that's the picks for the European cigars.
I've only tried Toscanello then. I really like them. Great coffee type flavors.
Toscanello is the short one. Toscano is the big one.
Yeah.
Oh, I've tried Toscano then.
Says Andre.
Toscano then. I've tried Toscano.
What other Asian countries do you want to see enter the cigar market? Or I'll expand that. What other Asian countries might we see in the cigar market?
Well, in India have they co-own a brand. Asian countries, as far as I know, Sri Lanka have cigars. I have Sri Lankan cigars, which are really nice and tasty. They look ugly, very ugly. The bunt is like made by, I don't know, copy machine from 1930s or something. Worse than that, trust me. But they're nice and sweet. They're like sweetenish type cigars, not Drew Estate sweet cigars, but they have sweetness. Philippines have amazing history of the cigars. Manila cigars, Flor de Manila. They're still very collectible, and people, if they found them, they buy them. Burma makes some cigars, but they use not only tobacco, they use also some weird tree leaves or something in there. And I don't think any of the Asian companies producing cigars in Asia will probably have a step in the market properly. Maybe if it's a company owned by Asian people, more likely.
Yeah.
But not an Asian produced cigars will have that influence in soon time.
I see. Last few questions.
Who's more handsome, Eddie or Edward Sahakian?
Eddie, man. Eddie. Clearly.
I'm straight guy, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, Ryan, sorry, I missed your question. Favorite regional release Cubans?
I've only tried UK regionals.
I have smoked very few as well.
I've only tried UK regionals.
I would say Partagas 681, but just because I am born in Bulgaria and that's Bulgarian release.
What's it like? Is it good? What's it like? I mean, you're not a fan of Partagas in general. I mean, you like
Bolivar,
them,
not Partagas.
Bolivar.
My bad. Bolivar. Regional editions, the best one I have smoked, probably Hunters and Franco Ramonolones, and Swiss edition Punch. That's the best ones I have smoked.
I've only smoked UK regionals as far as I can remember. Maybe I think I smoked one in Finland.
Georgie's here and he just corrected you. I think he's a bit behind.
The Bolivar. Yeah, it's Bolivar.
But the best one I smoked is La Reina. That I thought was amazing. Lancero shape. Have you tried that?
No.
Really good cigar. Highly recommend
I'm
it.
a skinned guy. They're expensive.
You can't get them elsewhere, can you?
Well,
unfortunately.
there's still new cigars. The widows don't have them.
Okay, now we're definitely on the big one.
Yeah. Apparently Sweden has two 100% Swedish tobacco cigars.
Yeah, Trektor.
Tektor and Bergstrand.
Forgot about them, but I haven't smoked them.
I definitely haven't smoked them.
Royal Danish, but they're not made in Denmark. They're made down in some of the Nicaraguan.
Have I smoked the Royal Danish?
Royal Danish are nice, but the company is Danish, so they're not made in Denmark. and they don't exist anymore. Now it's called. There was a clash of the names with the Royal Danish family, and they took out the name from the cigars, so now they call differently. I don't remember the name, but the guy which owned them, Jan Vistensen, he's a Danish guy living in Spain now and stuff. So it's a Danish company. But there's many examples. Switzerland have like 10 different companies. Because Dagley, it's an UK guy.
They're called House of Nicaragua now.
House of Nicaragua, yeah.
Last few questions.
So we've seen tobacco aged in bourbon and gin barrels. What about other types of spirit barrels we want to see?
Rum barrels. There's tobacco aged in rum barrels.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else do we want to see that hasn't happened?
I don't want to see any of them. I don't like them.
I'm not really.
That's
Maybe-
barrel-aged.
Maybe barrel, port barrels. I think they have port barrels as well.
Yeah.
Well, you can use everything apparently.
Yeah,
Every spirit barrels you can use them to age cigars, but I'm not
really fussed about that. I mean,
There's some hints in that cigars which I'm not fan of it. Maybe because I'm not fan of the whiskey usually, and
I think it's a risky move, but because it can go either really good, really well or really badly. But personally, I'm not really that fussed about it. I mean, if they do it and it tastes nice, great. If it doesn't, like, I'm not looking at it thinking, oh, this was aged in this barrel.
But
So I'm smoking a barrel aged now.
I know, but it's not a criteria that I look at for cigars and think, oh.
Who asked that questions?
Andre.
Andre, who's the gin barrel cigar? I
Gin
never
barrel?
heard of a gin barrel cigar.
There's a gin barrel cigar?
Andre mentioned that.
Oh.
Find out. Apparently, Georgie says some regular production Fuentes are aged in rum barrels for a small period of time.
Yeah, it's just not something I'm fussed about. I mean,
Yeah.
if someone says that, oh, this was aged in whatever barrel, I'm like, I don't care.
Exactly. Smoke it
Yeah.
if you like it. I like it.
If I like it, I
No,
like
no.
it. If I don't, yeah, exactly. It's never a criteria that I look at and think, oh, this was aged in this barrel, so I'm gonna try. Nah, I'm just like, I'm gonna try it because I try it. Yeah.
Well, we're on 1 minute 59 and 35 seconds.
1 hour.
Well,
An
now.
hour. You know
Right,
what I meant.
and there's no other questions? Okay.
There were a couple of things I wanted to mention. but I
So
think
shall
we've
we
run out of
mention
time.
the special guest stuff?
No,
We
let's
didn't advertise it yet. anywhere.
let's verify it first, and then we'll talk
It's
about it.
verified.
Which one?
We will
Oh.
have a special appearance in the show.
Oh yeah, what day are we doing that?
Yeah, 15th. So
15th.
we decide to bring new stuff into the channel. Basically, we want to develop as much as we can and be interesting to the people. So we're having a discussion, and we want to bring at least once in a month a special guest via Zoom to have a chat with us and to answer the questions, of course, and talking for different topics. And we already agreed the first guest, which will be on the 15th, so not next week, week after. We will have a special guest, so prepare your questions. The guy will really
We
can
might as well
answer
name the
everything.
person now. So that we might as well name the person now so they can prepare
Or
questions.
keep them in suspense.
No, let's just.
I'll name it. It's all confirmed. There's nothing to hide.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
So the first guest will be one and only Jose Blanco, the professor. I believe many of you know it. Who is it and what he's done? If not, research a little bit. He's a decent guy, and he will be open book. You can ask him anything which you think we're not we're not smart enough to know the answer, or if you don't trust us, feel free. He will be live via Zoom for us. I think we will be at least for a whole show. So
Let's put it this way: he definitely knows.
yeah, he knows way more than us. He's a professor.
Collectively, he definitely knows way more. So, if I would highly recommend you try and get as many questions that you have to this guy, because he's pretty much a cigar genius, isn't he?
There will be a topic in the discussion, but feel free to fire away any
Yeah,
interesting questions. We're gonna bring it to him.
Yeah. So whatever questions you have, we're gonna pitch it to him, and yeah, feel free any questions. But the guy knows
Everything.
It's just ridiculous how much this person knows. So highly recommend you start pitching questions to this person, because he's in a different league. Definitely a different league. We're going to try and get a bunch more guests through Zoom onto the live stream, and then that way we can feature. And I say feature, I mean they're basically they're the more important people in the industry than we are, and I think it'd be good to have them talking about certain things and asking some of these people questions directly. Definitely something that I want to do myself as well. Anything else we want to quickly cover? So, final thoughts on China. What do you think? Do you think China could take over the cigar industry?
I don't think China coming in the European, American, South American market in the nearest 50 years. We will see brands going in China and China start producing more interesting cigars, but they're not going to have any big, any small percentage into the other market apart of China and maybe that region of Asia. That's my final.
Which is very fair. I disagree slightly, but only slightly. I think that the time frame that Ray is mentioning, 50 years, I think it's going to be a little bit shorter than that. I think we're looking at about 2 decades, potentially even less than that, where China will start to have a significant influence on the cigar industry, potentially more than influence. They might even start to have an impact on the industry, especially in the US markets. I think they've got a little bit more leeway in the US markets, and it's a bigger market in terms of how much they consume. So I think they could start making headway in those markets far sooner than they could in the European markets. But I could be wrong. I mean, again, we're speculating over here. But with the way things are going, with how quickly they're growing, how they're kind of investing so heavily with all the different expertise and rollers and everything, and the production rates are going insanely high. So I think it's reasonable to assume that they could start cracking certain markets. Maybe not become the dominant force, but they could start becoming a noticeable force within the industry. So yeah, I think we kind of agree mostly, but just slight divergence there in certain things, which is perfectly fine, obviously. But hey, either one of us could be wrong. I mean, we're both speculating over here, so we never know. You never know. But yeah, Ray, go on, sign off with your slogans.
Yeah, we don't have a sponsor, so we're not gonna advertise anything.
Well, sign off with your
just
slogan.
Advertise myself. So carry on smoking. You know the deal. Smoke your cigars. Or
bingo.
If you're not gonna smoke them, then someone else will smoke them. I hope that will be me. Not because I want you all dead, but just don't get divorced or don't die before you smoke all your cigars.
Damn, Ray. Damn, you took that to a dark place there. But yeah, smoke your cigars. Otherwise, the widow collector will come. We're gonna creep out from under your bed. Yeah, except Gurkha. I'm sorry. I had to throw that in. But yeah, no, I think it's been a great discussion today. It was a little bit more serious discussion than some of our other topics that we talk about, because I think we laugh more in some of the other ones. But no, I really enjoyed this discussion, so thank you for that, Ray. And Alex, thank you for doing an awesome job as usual. And yeah, huge thank you to you guys for sticking around and watching us on our live streams. Really appreciate it. Typical stuff, like and subscribe and all that nonsense. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you all in the next one. And I'll try and get the interview up as soon as possible. But yeah, thank you guys.